Next up is Dana Engebretson. Dana is a data scientist at BI Worldwide and the founder of PyLadies Twin Cities. That's the programming language, not the dessert, right? Because if it was a dessert, I'd totally crash.
It's both.
All right. So please give it up for Dana.
Okay, so this is a story about how I learned to deploy my code at work through a fun side project. It's essentially a story about killing two birds with one stone. However, I found this imagery was a little bit more peaceful than two dead birds. And I would rather have two diamonds. Okay, so this is what I do. I get messy product descriptions and I classify them into proper categories, and it's kind of difficult. As you see, there's cheese in the last three, and I get really hungry at work. They all get loaded into a task queue, and my code needs to communicate with the task queue, and it cannot do it by itself, at least not scalably, and this is where Kubernetes comes in. I like to think of Kubernetes as the goddess of harvest. Okay, stay with me here. I grew up in Farmington, Minnesota. Kubernetes, she looks at the task queue, and she decides how many resources we're going to need in order for my code to process these product descriptions, okay? So she starts out by building a cluster of pods. These are keywords here. So each pod is identical, and there are Docker containers inside the pods that can communicate with each other and the outside world. Here are the Docker containers, which hold my code, okay? The problem here is that our team, oh no, sorry, apologies. Okay, so Kubernetes with Google, the Google Cloud infrastructure can basically make clusters that are large farm fields, and it allows my code to be scalable. So the problem, we only had one person on our team who was godly enough to communicate with Kubernetes, and I didn't like waiting to see updates, to wait for my code to be deployed so that we could start the QA process. The other thing is, if he left, I would have no idea how to deploy my code, and that frustrated me. So an opportunity arose. My boss found this small, adorable side project. We use Slack for communicating, and it's basically, it calls out 3 people and asks you to work out, and he asked for somebody to volunteer to deploy it. And I thought, oh man, that is so cool, but I'm not an ops person. And I sat around and waited, and nobody volunteered. And then I thought, but what am I? I am the variable. I am not the class data scientist. I can reassign myself, okay? I can be adaptable. And so I decided, all right, let's do this. This is a great opportunity. I'll deploy this existing app using Kubernetes. And it was sort of like a hello world, because I didn't have to, I could work with something manageable, and then I could learn the whole ops process in a way that wasn't, okay, so I did it. I was super excited. Not everyone else on my team was excited, as you can see. So I made it more polite. I added a break, you see, and I also connected it with the Giphy API so that every once in a while it would give us some really adorable, just super cute reinforcement. And it made my life more fun. I just enjoyed being at work more. I got to know my colleagues a little bit better. I actually really liked the breaks. Like, it gave me the excuse, like, okay, yeah. So we were doing some squats, you know, people started to get into it, some reluctantly. But, you know, it was fun, and you can see right there, that's my iteration of the project, the changes I made. But ultimately, I gained my team's trust, and now I can actually deploy the project on my own. So that's my story. Thanks.